Boy, what just happened? Where am I?
You're in my home. And I think the tornado just sent you straight through my window.
Boy, listen to me.
I am Kratos, God of War, and Ragnarok is coming. And if I don't stop it, it will kill you and all of your friends. But I don't have any friends. I do not care. Now, point me back to Midgard. Okay, wait, hold on, slow down. First of all, I don't know where Midgard is. Second of all, what is a Ragnarok? Third of all, I hate to tell you this, man, but I've never heard of you. Am I supposed to? You've never heard of Kratos, the God of War? Have you ever played a God of War game? I just finished playing Battlefield. Yeah, well, that game's garbage. Come. Sit. I'll show you an actual good game. Alright, but what about Ragnarok? Ragnarok can wait, boy. Now turn on the PlayStation. Alright, well, this is the only God of War that I own. Good, because it's the best one. God of War is the best God of War. I haven't played any of the other God of Wars, but I don't care because this is the best God of War. The 2018 Game of the Year effect, which makes the cowboy fan within me furious beyond comprehension. God of War is a fantastic game, and not only did incredibly well critically, but commercially as well, with over 19 million sales, getting a sequel which will be coming out later this year, and a PC re-release which will be coming out very soon.
Halt, boy!
What is it, Kratos? I'm trying to record.
Did you just say that the game will be coming out on PC?
Yes, on January 14th, it will be releasing on PC.
This is unlike the Sony I know. How much will it cost?
$50.
There's the greed.
This game is a minor reboot compared to the trilogy, changing up many things like the setting and story, going from a young angry Kratos murdering everyone in Greek mythology to an older, wiser Kratos who murders everyone, but it's in Norse mythology instead. The most major change would have to be the gameplay, going from a sorta isometric hack and slasher in the original games to the new one switching to a third-person open-world action-adventure. The gameplay in God of War is without a doubt one of its highlights. It is so good. From its puzzles to the exploration to the combat, which has been perfected here. It is so satisfying and brutal to chop your enemies in half, back up, hurl your axe at them, call it back, and then continue beating their asses. The combat in this game makes you feel powerful as hell, until you fight an enemy that's higher level than you. So go to your local dwarf, upgrade your weapon, then hop into the menu, upgrade your abilities so that maybe you can stand a chance against these overleveled guys. The upgrades really add depth to the combat in this game, giving you a lot of new attacks to mess around with, like stronger hits, combos, or even some magical runic abilities. I never used these attacks and mostly just spammed R1 for the entire game, but then again, I'm shit. And speaking of spamming R1, I love the rage mechanic. During your fights, you'll slowly fill up your rage meter, and once it's full, click L3 and R3 and get ready to beat the ever-loving shit out of everyone around you. While you're in this mode, you don't take any damage from enemies, and every time you hit one of them, you gain health. So spam like you've never spammed before. I mean, you can be a bit more tactical when you're using rage, like by upgrading it with some more attacks and stuff like that. But fuck being tactical, that's boring. Here, hold this rock while I pound your ass. Your other fighting variation is to use your fist for enemies that are immune to your axe. But apparently Kratos punches like he's in a dream because you barely do any damage to enemies with your fists. Instead, you raise their stun bar, which gets them set up for an execution, like stomping their heads in, ripping this wolf's jaw off, giving this ogre a Joker smile, or getting stuck on Atreus. Each enemy type in this game has different types of executions, and there's a decent amount of enemy types here. Although most of the time you're just fighting these undead corrupted corpses, which is kind of disappointing. It would have been nice to see some human raiders who will talk shit to you or something like that. I mean, we do fight other humans once, and that's it. Other than these zombies, you'll fight some other enemy types, usually depending on the realm you're in, like the Dark Elves. These guys can be really annoying but are manageable. These ice dickheads who are invulnerable to your axe, so you'll instead just have to punch the shit out of them. These guys don't look very intimidating. That is until they gang up on you and don't stop wombo comboing. But the most annoying enemy type by far has got to be these teleporting witches called Revenants. The only way to deal with them is to get Atreus to stun them with an arrow, and then you can hit them 3 times before they teleport away and throw their bullshit ass homing poison that'll inevitably hit you, and then you shoot them with an arrow again and repeat until they die. It is so frustrating and boring to fight against them.
I think you got him.
That's what you get. But aside from them, you've got a few more enemy types, like wolves and wolvers, which are just wolves but on 2 feet, this knight who backs up like he wants it up the ass, and these giants with big ass clubs that you'll fight like 10 times, and I wish I was joking. Yes, we've got mini bosses in God of War, and you heard that right, that's bosses as in plural for 2 different mini bosses you'll fight like 10 times, and that's it. The first mini boss you fight in the game is the aforementioned giant with big club. These guys have really good designs and look crazy intimidating, but don't let that fool you because they're actually piss easy and their attacks basically consist of swing, a different variation of a swing, a smash, and a stomp. And that's it. Sure, they change it up a bit by giving some of the later giants elemental abilities, like fire, which means when the giant stomps, fire comes out of its foot. But even with that, they're still piss easy. Watch me kill one now. The other mini-boss you'll fight a million times can actually be avoided if you don't feel like fighting them, and they're the Soul Eaters. Other than the first one, they won't engage with you unless you engage with them first. They're not difficult at all though, and honestly I think they're even easier than the other boss, with their attacks mostly just consisting of a laser beam that you could just block, and explosives that you could just back up from. I mean, it's either that or I just mastered it after fighting them like 60 times. But you know what's bad when even the characters in the game are getting tired of fighting them.
Enough of these guys.
Man, Kratos, these guys that you fought are pretty boring if I'm gonna be honest.
And what enemies have you fought that allow you to make such baseless claims?
You don't want to know. Thankfully, the actual boss fights are much better. I won't spoil them and I'll only show footage of the first boss, but they're all amazing. Gameplay-wise, they're good, but that's really it. Most of the fights don't do anything crazy innovative in terms of gameplay, and it's mostly just spamming your R1 attacks and occasionally dodging. But what saves these boss battles is how fucking cinematic they are. The way the game seamlessly switches from gameplay to batshit crazy cutscene is perfect and really adds to the whole experience, as you can see from this footage. And this is only the first boss battle. Just wait till some of the later fights which ramp it up even more than this one. Especially the amazing final boss battle where there's so much shit happening at once. And while the fights are great, there is one fairly disappointing boss battle in this game, and once you play it, you'll probably be able to distinguish which one I was talking about, but the rest are able to carry this one minor disappointment and give some incredibly memorable fights. My other minor gripe would have to be that there really aren't that many boss battles in this game, only around 5, but considering the composition of the boss battles and how much manpower, time, and money making just one likely costed, I'm not surprised and I'm able to forgive the lack of boss fights. But we're not done with boss fights there because we've got optional side mission bosses. The one I'm talking about, of course, being the Prove Your Valor side quest where you have to fight 9 different Valkyries and free their spirits for some good rewards. I've only fought 2 of the 9 Valkyries, and yeah, these are the hardest bosses in this game. They don't have any cinematics compared to their main game counterparts, so the devs mainly focused on the gameplay, and this is where all the good boss combat went. Each Valkyrie has different attacks that you'll have to learn the block and dodge timings of, which is good because if you just had to fight the same boss but with a different design 9 times, then that'd be lame. From the 2 that I fought, the first wasn't that bad, and the second made me want to kill myself. A delicate balance. Then again, I am awful at this game and play like it's Dark Souls, so they're probably not that hard, I'm probably just really bad. And while I have only fought 2, I have seen gameplay of the final one, which I will not spoil here, and yeah, maybe another day. You've got some other side missions that the blacksmith and some random ass spirits will give you. These ones are pretty boring in comparison. The blacksmiths aren't that bad as you search for an item that they're looking for. It'll give you some fun combat encounters and some good items. Not as good as the Valkyries, but good nonetheless. And honestly, I just really like both the blacksmiths. I think their characters are really funny, but I don't give a rat's ass about the spirits. Their side missions are boring as hell. They're boring ghosts with little character except for a few of them, and their objectives are boring like look for these bones, or kill these guys, or kill these other guys. These side missions are filler. Overall, the side missions are a mixed bag. I understand their inclusion, and I'm glad they're here giving a lot more content to the game, but I just wish they were fleshed out a bit more and given some more interesting characters other than just the dwarves. That's not to say that they're bad though. I mean, I love the Valkyries, and I do see myself eventually fighting all of them, as the 2 that I fought were a lot of fun in between my meltdowns. The dwarfs missions were alright little time wasters, and the spirits sucked. Moving on from senseless action and murder, let's talk about the puzzles in this game, and there's a lot of them, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. In fact, I like puzzles, but what is bad is my problem-solving skills. Most of the puzzles in this game took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out, and it's not because they're crazy confusing or hard, it's just that I'm an idiot.
How the fuck do I do this?
Hey Kratos, could you help me out with this puzzle real quick?
Zip it, boy. I am trying to figure out how to open this concoction of vitamins. Push and turn. I am pushing and turning. This jar's instructions are unclear. I shall murder whoever designed it.
In every chapter throughout the game, there'll usually be about 2 or 3 puzzles stopping your progress throughout the mission. And sometimes these puzzles will trigger over the absolute dumbest reasons, like Kratos not being able to jump up that fucking wall. Usually though, just be how to get from one side of a broken room to another, but sometimes they'll get creative and give us some riddles or crystals that'll make Kratos walk as slow as physically possible, or just straight up death traps. I love this section. But the puzzles aren't only reserved for levels, as a lot of the time they'll be stopping you from reaching a chest with some valuables inside of it. There are 4 different types of chests in this game. The first is a wooden one. These ones suck ass and even Kratos hates them, just look at the way he opens it. The second is these redstone ones. These ones are slightly better, but rarely give you anything good other than money. The third are these glowing ones, which actually give you some good shit sometimes. And the last is these blue ones. These ones are the best. It's too bad that actually unlocking them is a dumbass's nightmare. These blue chests are locked with 3 seals, and to unlock them you have to complete a small puzzle, ranging from hitting objects fast enough, this one is easy, to setting the symbol in the right position. This one is even easier, to finding and smashing 3 blue rocks placed in the most infuriating locations. I hate this one. I always find 2 of 3 rocks and never the third, which pisses me off beyond belief. But overall, I really like these puzzles, and they're a nice way to slow down the pace of the game and were well placed throughout the world. Although the open world in God of War is actually used really well. Midgard is absolutely beautiful and I love its design. You get to explore so many different locations, like different ancient buildings, multiple realms, a giant's corpse, or even a stomach. But for the most part, you'll be spending most of your time in this game in this middle area with a circular river connecting to the rest of the map and this giant gateway to the other realms. This middle area sort of acts as a hub world connecting you to the rest of the levels throughout the game, and it connects to those areas really seamlessly. But moving on from the level design, since we've already touched on that a bit, let's talk about the collectibles spread throughout the world. This game has a bit too many collectibles if I'm gonna be honest, from language ciphers to treasure maps that give you some confusing riddles to help you get good loot, to realm tears where you fight enemies that one-shot you, to clauses that for some reason explain events that happen in Norse mythology and are placed in the most random locations.
Look here, another.
This one's called Emir. Mother tried to tell me this one, but I think I was too young.
Why is this here? Those are just a few of the collectibles spread throughout the world. There are way more, and like I said, maybe a bit too many to the point where it could get a bit overwhelming. Although despite that, I'm glad they're here since they do a good job at encouraging you to explore the world. Overall, God of War is a fantastic game and is definitely one of Sony's best exclusives. And without a doubt, one of the best games of 2018. Not the best. It's not the best. It isn't the best Game Awards, you fucking bitch. But it's still good and without a doubt worth the $50 once it releases on PC. Well, Kratos, I beat your game. What now?
Now you are ready for the journey ahead. Pack your things, boy. We are leaving for Midgard. What is that?
Oh, that? That's just an Xbox.
Yes, I know it's an Xbox, but why is it here?
I don't know, I'm just a fan. What's so wrong about owning an Xbox?
No. This cannot be. Smash it.
What smash it? What for?
Smash it and prove that you're ready.
You just said I was ready 2 seconds ago.
That was until I learned that you were an Xbox. Now smash it!
I'm not smashing it, dude. You know how hard those things are to come by? I had to sit on like 50 different websites for 8 hours just refreshing over and over again. I got it in my cart like 20 times only for some asshole scalper to take it from me.
I do not care.
Well, I do. I'm not smashing it.
I see. So you are not ready. You still have much to learn. And you will learn from my past. You will play that, God of War 1, and the rest of the trilogy on God mode to prove that you are ready.
Sure thing, Kratos man, but you call this God of War 1. This is God of War 2.
No, it's not. That clearly says God of War without a 2.
That's a 2 right there, God of War 2.
Why would they put a 2 in the middle? I'm gonna murder whoever made that case.